All right, guys, I'm gonna ask you in advance to forgive me. I left my stand at home, so um, I'm gonna be holding this camera, and hopefully, I can keep it still enough that you won't feel frustrated by the shaking. But I want to talk to you today, and I guess I'll give you a little bit of background about where this is coming from. But I want to talk to you today about how to choose an agent and what's the difference between real estate agents for buyers, right? And so the background is, for one, if you don't know, I'm a 9 year Navy veteran. I was on submarines. And so while I was on active duty, actually, I did purchase my first property. So um, I've been through the process as far as how do you find a realtor, how do you find a great agent, how do you know if they're good or not. Finding the same thing with the lender, you just kind of think at that time at least, me being active duty, I thought, hey man, I'm Navy, so of course I bank with Navy Federal. Also, I had USA as my insurance company. I think that's pretty standard for a lot of Navy guys, at least on active duty. And then, so you just kind of figure to go to those people. And so this this came about because today, actually, I just finished signing the final loan docs for my buyers, one of my clients, and they're actually active duty military, and they were sharing with me some of the horror stories that they have heard. So this was hold on, I'm actually gonna rest this here. Just try to keep this camera steady as possible. But they had shared with me that there was some horror stories. So I said, what do you mean? And they were saying, oh, well, there's people that bought here or there, and they didn't realize the traffic patterns, and also, uh, they paid too much for it, or they probably could have got it for less, and they just took the first thing that was available, yada yada yada, on and on. So today I want to first discuss the difference between various types of agents, and then also just to share with you what you should be looking for. So, number one, and just to clarify, real estate is like any other industry. It's just like your job. If I were to ask you about your job, you would probably say, or if I were to ask you, are there some great workers at your job, right? You'd probably say, yeah, there's some really awesome people there. I would say, well, are there some people that are not really great, but they're not bad, just kind of in the middle, right? Show up, do what they're supposed to do, go home. He'd probably say yes. And then lastly, I would say, are there some people that you kind of wonder how do they keep their job, right? You're probably like, man, I don't understand how this guy, this gal, has a job, has maintained employment here, because obviously, whoever makes that decision does not see what I see on a daily basis, right? So you probably have those people. And real estate is no different. There's some great agents, top agents that really knock it out the park every time they take care of a client, whether it's on the buyer or seller side. And then there's also some real sharks, some real snakes, and even as a fellow real estate agent, you kind of look at them and you're like, I don't know how this guy stays in business, how this gal stays in business. I don't know how they find clients. Um, how do people, how do people even choose to work with that person? And when you understand what's happening behind the scenes, you're like, man, right? So real estate's, like I said, it's just like that. It's good, bad, and then everything in between. And there's a few great ones as well. So the first thing, especially for you guys that's active duty military, and I'll be clear that this is more so going to be aimed at active duty or veterans, military affiliated, anyone that's going to be using the VA loan, because there's so much targeting for you guys, for us, because I'm a veteran as well, right? I use VA loans whenever I purchase a property as well. But you got to understand that you having access to a VA loan, that's pretty common, right? I mean, you've done your 4 years, whether it's active duty or reserves, whatever it is, so you got access to the VA loan, okay? Now, first thing you've got to understand is that every bank does VA loans. Every bank. I'm not sure. I think I would be harder pressed to find a bank or a lender that does not do VA loans. So I'll make that clear. So anytime you see, VA certified this, VA certified that, blah, 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 as if it's something special and unique to that bank or that lender, just just be mindful that at best it's clever marketing. At worst case, it's it could be a sign that maybe you might be dealing with someone that doesn't have your best intentions, right? And it's kind of like this. You guys all know, especially if you've been in the military for longer than a year or two, you guys all know that there's always those used car dealerships, right? That's on the blacklist, right? All you got to do is just ask your command, hey, which car dealership should I go to or not? And they'll say, hey, look, here's the blacklist. We say do not. I know at least for the Navy, they say, hey, do not go do business with these people. They've taken advantage of our sailors in past, and they've done it enough times that we blacklisted them, right? Well, in real estate and in a lot of businesses that deal with the military directly, and when I say businesses directly, I mean like real estate, mortgage lending, those type of things. You have the same thing. You've got businesses that have established themselves on active duty or those with VA access to VA loans, and some of them are true sharks. They just are. It's assembly line, right? You're just another number to them. They know that there's an infinite number of active duty or veterans or retirees or whatever coming through. There's an endless supply. You're only going to be here 3 or 4 years. You're going to move, or you're going to buy, retire, whatever. And so they know whether the service is good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. Once you're in the house, you're just going to deal with it because that's what we do, right? Especially as active duty, especially as veterans, retirees, that's what we do. We just bite the bullet and we keep on moving on because, hey, that's what it takes to be in the service, right? You have a day that's not, I want to keep this clean, so I'm not going to say the words I want to say. Let's just say you don't have great days every day in the military. You guys know what I'm saying. And if you dwell on those days, you're not going to make it, especially on like a deployment or something, right? So you just, hey, you push it in the back of your mind, you forget about it, and then you move on, right? And that's no different with the services that you guys receive. A lot of times we receive less than stellar service, but we go, hey, whatever, I got the house now, move on. Or what also could be the case is that you just don't have the time to deal with it, right? You only got a day, 2 week, whatever. You got to buy a house, you buy it, or you got to get your loan, whatever. You get it done. You thought the service was sucky, but now it's time to deploy, or now it's time to get back to work, get back to the field, yada, yada, yada. And you don't really have time to really give them a review or to really complain properly through formal processes the way you should, right? So that is how a lot of those type of businesses, especially real estate agents, lenders, banks, whatever, that is how they operate because they know you just don't have the time, right? And it's just like those used car dealerships. They exist. They'll always exist. But you got to know that they do exist. And the first thing in recognizing that is understanding that every major bank deals with VA loans, period. Is nothing special, is nothing unique about VA loans. It's just like USDA, I think FHA, conventional loans, they all do it. There's no way a bank is going to call themselves a bank and not do VA loans because there's so much money in it, right? We're always buying and selling. So that's the first thing you got to understand about this industry, real estate and also mortgage lending when you're thinking of buying a home. Is everyone does VA. They just find clever ways of marketing to say that they're VA certified or they're VA location specialists or, they got this extra training or whatever, or they're, the VA expert, right? Everyone deals with VA. You cannot be a real estate agent and do enough business to take care of your family and not deal with VA. And the same thing goes with lending, right? especially near any type of major military base, right? If there's a huge military base, military presence in your area, there's no way that bank or lender could do or stay in business without doing VA, right? So just accept that fact, know that it's true. Check whoever asks about, you'll find that to be true. So the next thing is understanding, okay, well, now that I understand that everyone deals with VA, it's not something that's really special or unique. Um, the next step would be, okay, how do I find an agent that's not going to take advantage of me? And so here's what I'll tell you. There's, like we said, bad, there's good, and then there's great, right? So bad, they're just, it's like a volume-based car dealership, right? They know you're coming, they know you're going, they know you got a limited window to buy, and they're just going to show you something you like, wrap the contract, put you in there, and on to the next one, right? They're not really doing no negotiation, not really doing any price reductions for you. They're not really showing you comparables. They're not really telling you about the market, which neighborhood is better, the commute times, nothing, schools, anything like that for your kids, nothing. Just, hey, you like this house? Great. Let's help you buy it, right? And to me, that's the worst type of agent you could have. Someone's just show you property, throw you in whatever you pick, and not really understand the needs of you or your family, right? Okay, and then so next is the good one, right? The good ones, they're just not as skilled, but they have great intentions, right? So they will show you properties until you decide you find something you like. Then you'll ask them questions, and they may say, hey, I'll get you that information. And then you go, hey, what should I do? They'll say, well, it's up to you. You could do A, B, C, or D. And, these are options, la, 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 la. And they're nice, friendly people, but you're just really not being led, and they don't have that leadership ability to really make you feel like they're a professional, they're the expert, right? And there's one side of being an expert where, okay, yeah, every street name in the neighborhood, and every school, middle school, their ratings and where the swimming pool is, and that's great. But the other side of being an expert is understanding your needs, right? If you got a family, right? If you have a son or a daughter that's got a disability, and you're always driving them back and forth to the hospital, right? Do you need to be closer there? Or if this is where you work, what's the commute time? Are you always on call? And you always, you never know when you got to show up to work, then you can't live an hour away or 40 minutes away, right? Or, you think you're 2 or 3 miles away, but they're not telling you that, hey, traffic's pretty bad during business hours. So it's going to take you an hour, even though you live 2 miles, whatever it is, right? Knowing those things about you, right? And it's unique to you, of course, but you really got to uncover those things, right? And it could be different for each one. So the best way to know how you, or whether or not that agent is that person for you, is what type of questions are they asking you, right? So yeah, we had the baseline of 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,000 square feet. I want a 2-car garage and some solar panels. Great, right? So that's just so shallow. It's like you can look up on Zillow and find that, right? So that's not why you're paying us, right? So now I need to know, okay, where does the husband work? Where does the wife work? Okay, the kids, right? Do you care about what schools are they in, right? Do you have a dog? What's your lifestyle like, right? Are you wanting to work in the garage, or you just wanting to park your car in the garage? Do you enjoy working on your car? Because if you do, you can't live in a place where the association is really strict on leaving your car on bricks in your front yard, right? You need to know these type things. That's the type of depth that you want to be in. Some of my agents or clients rather, have shared with me, hey, look, I want to be right next to work. I don't want to drive more than maybe 15, 20 minutes. I want a garage to do this and then that and everything else I don't care about. Okay, great. Then there's other clients that say, hey, look, man, I'd rather drive further away to have a nicer place. I don't mind dealing with the traffic. Um, I'm getting ready to retire anyway, so after that, doesn't matter. I really want a nicer house. Then I've met clients that say, "Hey, look, um, we don't even mind living in a shack. We looking for the flip. We want to fix, flip it, invest it, make some money, walk away with some equity, or have some equity, and then when we sell, we want to walk away with some money in our pocket, and we don't mind living in a less than less than turnkey place to do that. We don't mind. So if your agent is if that agent isn't asking you those type of questions, if they aren't really getting in depth to what your motivations are for buying, what your goals are you planning to stay here for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Are you going to sell in the next 3, 4, 5 years? Are you going to rent it out, right? Um, are you open to investment properties? Are you open to foreclosures, right? Or do you just want something really nice? You don't really care? All those things are questions that your agent should be asking you, right? And also, the next thing you want to look at is how quickly are they trying to get you to buy, right? If you're new to the area, I would say you should be looking at least a minimum of 10 properties or so, maybe more. And that's not because I think you should be indecisive, quite the contrary. But I think it's just the fact that you want to know the area yourself, right? Um, because no matter how many questions the agent can ask you, there's just some things that you may not realize, or there's some decisions that you might make um, that you didn't share with your agent, right? So let's say you might say, hey, look, man, I'm looking for a 2 bed, 2 bath townhouse in town. I want it, and 600K is my budget. Okay, great. And we're looking at that, and then you might stumble past open house on the other side of town or something. It's a single family house, 3 beds, 2 baths for 550, right? But you go in there and you're like, oh man, I love this. Forget a 2 bed, 2 bath condo, right? And then, you know, your agent is like, well, shoot, I know that exists. That's where I live. But you told me you wanted a 2 bed, 2 bath townhouse or condo, so that's what I've been showing you, right? So you got to see some stuff for yourself as well, so that you know that when you putting in a purchase offer or whatever, then you know for a fact that it's what you really want. You have a you don't need to know the market as much as a real estate agent, but you've been around enough to know that you're not gonna one day go to, let's say, Starbucks, turn the corner and be like, oh man, look at this neighborhood. I didn't even know this was here. What? They got these new homes coming up, or oh man, look at that house for sale. I didn't even know this neighborhood, right? You don't want that happening. So just make sure you look at stuff yourself as well. Um, and so that's really going to be the biggest difference between initially just your initial conversation of seeing a great agent. And I don't know, depending on how long this video is, I'm already coming up on 19 minutes. I can talk. You guys can tell that. But I think this is a really important subject that's dear to my heart. So I'm going to keep going. And then if you guys leave in a comment, you want me to break it up into separate videos or something like that with shorter topics, or just talking about each topic, then I can do that. But the next thing is going to be negotiations. So let's say now, okay, you've looked at 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 properties, whatever it is, and now you found the one, right? Bad agents and good agents are going to write up an offer for the price that is listed for. So if it's listed for 700K, they're going to say, okay, you like it, it's 700K. All right, you're approved for 750. Let me write it up, and hopefully we can open escrow. Let me write this letter about you guys and say, hey, this family's military. They got 2 dogs and a cat and 3 kids, and they can't wait to enjoy your house and la la la, right? And then they write it up. And that's not the worst thing, but like I said, there's a difference between bad, good, and great. Great agent is gonna say, okay, we found it. We've looked at enough properties to know that we're serious about buying this one. This is what we really want. We don't need to look at another 50 properties because we've looked at them already, and we know this is the best property that's available today for the price that we want. So now he or she's going to go back to the computer and they're going to pull up the comparables. They're going to see what properties similar to the one that you're thinking about buying have sold in the past 6 months to the past year, right? And they also should be letting you know what type of market are we in. Are we in a buyer's market? Or are we in a seller's market? If we're in a seller's market, you can't worry about price because you're competing against other buyers. So it's like, hey, put your best offer in, and if you don't get accepted, walk away because you already gave your best, right? That's what's going on in the seller's market. But right now, today, we're in a buyer's market, or more so a normal market. In between seller and buyer, we're kind of more in a normal market where buyers have choices. There aren't 10 buyers competing unless a seller really, really aggressively listed their property, meaning they put it either at market value or just below market value to really solicit offers, right? So now your great agent, right, should be going back, looking at the comparables, looking at the properties that are similar to the one that you're thinking about buying, see what they sold for, right? Let you know the features and benefits, right? This one had solar panels, that one didn't. This one had a 2-car garage, that one had a 3-car garage. Oh, this one had marble flooring, that one had hardwood floor, whatever it is. And then let you know, hey, this one big yard, bad, small yard, corner lot, whatever it is, right? So you're looking at that. And then you also want to look at the property that's for sale. You want to check its history. Has it expired in the past year? Has it been pulled off the market in the past year? This is the first time listing it, right? It might show on the MLS, hey, it's been for sale for 10 days, 15 days. But you might go back and look and say, oh, wait a minute, they've been trying to sell it. Let's say today is May 2019. Let's say they've been trying to sell it since January 2018, right? They put it off the market at 800, then they put it back on the market in March at 800. Now they pulled it back and they put it in July 2018. They put it at 775, and now they're finally asking 750, and it's been on the market for 2 weeks at 750. But now with that information, okay, they've been actually trying to sell this property for a year and a half, right? So that's ammunition that you need to know. Also, you need to have your agent. Well, you need to have your agent. Your agent should be talking to the listing agent, for that property. Ask them, are they expecting other offers? Because if you're competing, once again, that's a different ballpark than if you're the only offer in town. You're the only player in town. Is different, right? So you need to understand that. Also, have they received any other offers prior to? That's a good thing. Now, full disclosure, you may not always get that information from the listing agent. If they're a sharp, savvy listing agent that's doing what's best for their seller, they will not give you that information, and they don't really need to. They're not required to. But once again, most sellers agents, again, there's a handful of great ones, there's a lot of good ones, and there's a few bad ones. Most of them are just trying to get that property sold. They're not necessarily trying to get the highest price for their seller. They just want to get it sold and get a paycheck, right? So they might say, hey, my seller's really motivated. There's some wiggle room on the price, yada, yada, yada. But at the least, you want your agent on the buyer side to be asking those type of questions and trying to get that information from them, right? So now you finally looked at the comparables. You did your homework on the property that you're looking at. You found out, okay, maybe it was pulled off the market 6 months ago at $50K more, or maybe it sat on the market for 3 months, 6 months ago at the same price. No one was able to get them to buy it, or no one was willing to purchase it for that price. Now they're on the market again at that same price. They're probably a bit overpriced, or whatever. Now you put that purchase contract in. So now your great agent should be calling the seller, letting them know it's coming in. It should only take you really a day, not even a day. It depends on when you make the decision, but I would say the whole process should take you maybe 4 hours. And what I mean by that is, assuming you've already got your lender, you've already been pre-qualified with your lender, um, then when it comes time to write that purchase contract, it should really take them 30 minutes to an hour to write up all the nuances, have the broker sign it, um, get the loan officer to put up a pre-qualification letter, put that together, have you sign it, and then email it back on over to the listing agent to get it in there, right? And there's a lot of other, nuances and little tips and tricks, but for the sake of staying on topic of this video, I just want you to know that those are some of the things that are different between a great agent and a terrible agent, right? It's not just showing you a house, open the door, hey, you like it, let me write up a contract, it gets accepted, and then 30, 45 days later, you get a key, right? A great agent is also going to put you with the great lender as well, okay? I'm trying to think of the best way to say this because as me being an agent, I'm not allowed to speak bad about anyone, and that actually wouldn't be professional. But let's just say it this way. Every large company, i.e. bank, that the military deals with as their primary bank, has had some situations where they failed the service member, if you will, when it came time to lending. So once again, knowing that all banks and lenders deal with VA loans, there might be a belief there that, hey, look, I bank with company A since boot camp, and so when it's time to buy a house, I'm just going to go with company A to do my lending. And it's as simple as that. They probably got the best rates, competitive rates. Not necessarily true. Okay, I have seen in my own personal experiences, and also I've had other agents share with me similar situations where company A or company B deals with a lot of active duty members and they back out. So they might tell you you're approved for $700K, and then a week or two later they just say, oh no, never mind, you're not qualified. Or they might tell you you're qualified for $600K, and then you go get your offer accepted, you're excited, you get an escrow, and then they're like, oh, well, actually, we didn't know that you had your car repossessed 4 years ago. No, you're not qualified. And you're left hurt. Both the seller's left hurt and you as a buyer's left hurt because they told you that you were good for this money, and now they're backing out on you. And you gave them all the information that they requested of you. And sometimes their service is not the best either. So with that said, I'm not saying that company A, company B doesn't successfully get people to the finish line, because they do, right? All companies do, good or bad. But I'm also sharing with you to be open to who your agent recommends, because here's the deal. By law, at least in Hawaii, I can't speak for other states, but I imagine it's probably the same. You cannot exchange money for referrals, meaning a real estate agent cannot get money for referring a lender or referring a client to a lender, and vice versa. A lender can't get money for referring a client to a particular real estate agent, right? You can't give each other money. So there is no financial incentive for the agent to refer you to any particular lender, other than the fact that that agent has the confidence in that lender to know that, hey, if the lender at company A, or let's just say company F, says, my client is qualified for $700K, then I know for sure that this lender is legit, is going to give great service, and that when we put an offer in, that for 700K or for 650 or whatever it is, that we're going to make it to the finish line because I know that lender. I've done enough transactions with that lenders, and I've had nothing but great reviews from my clients for it, right? So I would just tell you guys that for me personally, I have used the same lender in all of my transactions with my clients. She's awesome, and she's not a lender with one of those companies per se that will be there at boot camp to set up your checking account. Let's just put it that way. So the companies that you would say, let's say when you graduate boot camp, and I don't know if they do it the same, but at least with the Navy, when you graduate boot camp, there's usually typically this company or that company, that company. There's usually only 2 or 3 options where you could set up your checking account if you want, and you go, oh, well, that's just easy enough. I just do direct deposit there, because if not, I gotta wait for this check, and I don't know where I'm getting stationed next, yada yada yada, right? She's not with one of those companies. She's got a whole company that's dedicated to doing nothing but mortgage lending, or lending for mortgages, residential mortgages, right? And she's awesome. She's fantastic. And the largest difference I can tell you is that you call company A, company B, it's an 800 number, right? You call an 800 number, press 1, 2, 3, whatever, after you listen to the voice menu, right? You guys know the deal. Then, listen to all the options, press this, speak to an operator. Hey, tell me your date of birth, name, last, all this, blah, 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 right? Verify who you are. Well, with her, it's not like that. You call her direct, you can text her direct, and she can get you the same interest rates, if not a better interest rates, right? Because she specifically just does residential mortgages, and that's it, right? She doesn't do car loans, she doesn't do personal loans, yada, all that, right? So she can definitely get you as good of rates as company A or company B, if not better. And you can call her direct, text her direct anytime with your questions, and she'll respond. Now that's service, right? But you won't find her at your in-doc briefing selling you on her services when you get to your new duty station, right? So just be mindful that those people may be cool, they may not be. I can't say they're all good or bad. I don't know, because I haven't been to every in-doc brief. But just recognize that there's a whole lot of people out there who do not necessarily have access directly to your base that do provide great service for military, veterans, retired, whatever it is. But they may not necessarily just be available to your base. Let's put it that way. So, but again, that's a big difference too, is that, your great agent will have a great lender, maybe even 2 lenders, in case one's not available, that they can refer you to, that'll take great care of you, get you pre-qualified, take care of all your documents. If you got some questions, hey man, I had a bankruptcy at one point, or a repossession, whatever, my credit's not perfect, yada, yada, yada. They will work with you on that, tell you how the underwriters will look at it to get you your loan, let you know, hey, if you don't quite make enough, or because your credit's not good enough, maybe you might need to write a letter. They'll know all that stuff. And your agent should be in great relationship with them, because it's a team, right? They get paid whenever they fund a loan, and we get paid whenever the loan gets paid to a seller. Seller agrees, gives you the keys, seller takes his check, everyone's happy, right? So it's a team effort to get to that finish line, and you get your house that you want, right? So what was I going to say next? Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought, because I'm just not really speaking from notes or from any bulletin. I'm just kind of speaking straight from the heart here, because it's a subject that I felt was really important. But lastly, locating these people, right? So the best way, there's a few ways, actually. I'm not gonna say there's a best way, because there's a few ways you could find a great agent. One, you could look up Zillow reviews, or realtor.com reviews, or Yelp or something. You could try to find, top agent Hawaii or something like that, right? But just be mindful, though, that if you do go that route, sometimes top agents do not necessarily work with buyers, or they probably have some minimum qualifications to work with buyers, meaning you need to be buying something over a million or whatever. And it's neither good or bad, but just beware that if you're a first time home buyer, or if you know you're going to be wanting to see multiple properties, you don't just have one or two and then you're ready to buy, then they may not necessarily be willing to give you their time, or they may want to refer you to someone on their team or someone in their office that they know will take care of you. So just be mindful of that. But that is one way to find them, right? The next way is open houses. You could just open houses, if you don't know what they are, is in Hawaii at least, on Sundays from 2 to 5, you just drive around the island, you see open houses signs everywhere. You just go in there, and at most they may ask you for your name, email, phone number, and then you can look around the house. But what you're doing with that is you just go to different open houses and just see how the agents treat you. You'll notice a difference in the way the agents treat you and the way they greet you. I would not necessarily recommend the nicest guy or girl. I mean, you could do that. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but there's nice, and then there's professional, and there's someone that gets the job done, right? And I liken it to, I don't know a good reference for it, but I'll just say that just because they're nice does not mean that they necessarily have those skills that we discussed earlier in helping you get the property that you want at the best price that you can get it for. Okay, just because they're nice, they, like I said, they just may be somebody that might open the door, show you properties till you pick one, write the contract, and then boom. I would say more so look at the questions they ask you, see how they determine your motivation. Also, if they're trying to set up an appointment with you, that may be a good sign. Maybe pick 2 or 3 different realtors that you liked or you thought you could get along with, and maybe go see all 2 or 3 of them, or maybe just do a phone interview. That'd probably save you some time, but just say, hey, I like this realtor, that realtor, that realtor. They all seem nice, seem cool, get along with them. I'll talk to them on the phone for maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I go to the office, invest more time and more energy. But then, see the one that really is professional, really gets into your motivation, gets into your needs, and then go from there. So that's what I did when I found my agent. Also, you could ask around your network, right? You're all active duty or military or veterans, whatever it is, but other military or veteran members in your area. Ask them what their experiences are. Ask for their number. Hey, look, man, I'm trying to find a great real estate agent. What was your experience? Or what was your, who helped you? Or were they good? Were they blah, 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 right? Ask for that referral. And if they had a great experience, they'll definitely be happy to share you. And then if they didn't have a good experience, they'll definitely let you know too, right? You know how we are. They'll say, hey, look, I don't know, who might be good, but you definitely don't want this guy or girl because it was terrible, right? So they can save you that headache or that drama as well. So those are the ways that you can look for agent. I definitely would say if there was a priority, I would say talking to your network of people there that have already bought and sold in that area, and asking them who helped them would be the best way, right? And then for your lender, like I said, you could also, that agent usually should have somebody that they can recommend to you. You can do your own shopping, but it's just difficult because you're shopping from the shallow end of the pool, meaning you really haven't seen them do a transaction. Meaning you haven't seen that lender go through escrow and get to closing. You haven't really seen them. You just really haven't seen them work. So all you're doing is going by their marketing, or you're just going by the interest rates they're pushing on you, right? This guy offered 3%. Well, we offer you 2.87 or 2.85%, whatever, right? But you don't really know. Or, it might show you that, but then when you look at the writing in the background, they got, 10 grand more in fees or whatever it is, right? So I would say kind of lean on your agent. Once you found that great agent, lean on your agent, have them recommend, or if nothing else, just go to the office, and every large real estate company has a broker. Well, all real estate companies have a broker. That's a requirement. But um, all of them going to have a broker, and just ask the broker, hey, who's the lender that does all the deals around here? Hey, who's the guy or girl that really takes care of everybody? And I know at least in my office, I can't say it's the same in every office, although I imagine it probably is. In my office, there's always a handful of lenders that do a majority of the deals, that take care of all the agents, and they do a great job, and everybody loves them, and we all probably wear them out because we send them so much business, but they take care of it, they do a great job, and so that's the best way you do it. So I want to wrap this thing up because, been on for quite a bit of time. I probably said, right, too many times anyways, right? But active duty veterans, retirees, guys, when it comes to buying a home, do not be fooled with these relocation programs and services to make you feel as though you can't do it on your own, or that you have to do it. You don't have any other choice. It's just like buying a car, right? It would be like a military car buying service. Well, we all know you guys got your own paycheck. You can go out to any bank, any car dealership, and as long as you got a 650 credit score or better and you're active duty, you can buy, for the most part, any decent car, right? You can buy it. You don't necessarily need a car buying service for it. And real estate is no different, right? You move to a new place, you're in housing, you got your stipend for a month or 2 weeks or whatever it is that they're going to pay you, and you decide whether you want to rent, move into housing, or buy your own place. You can do it on your own, or you can use a service. It depends, and just be smart about it, and rewind this video or listen to it a couple of times. Really make sure that the main thing is that you got an agent that's not trying to shove you in the first house that you like, for one, especially if you don't know the area. Two, make sure that agent really understands your needs, not theirs, right? So they're just trying to show you a house. Make sure they understand what it is that you're looking for in the house, what you're looking for in the neighborhood, what you're looking for in your commute, school, community, or whatever it is that's important to you. Make sure they really have an understanding of that. And then make sure they're a good negotiator, just test them out, man, and see if they're going to show you the comparable, see if they're going to really show you the price that the property is worth, not just tell you, hey, the seller's asking 700, let's write up a check for 700. Maybe you should be writing a check for 670 or 680. And I'm not exaggerating with that, because I have done it with some of my clients, and we've come in 20, 30 grand below what the seller was asking and got an offer accepted. So this is not hypothetical. So understand that. And you guys, you know how it is. We just got to be smart, keep our head about us, because everyone wants to take advantage of I don't want to say everyone, but I will say there is a percentage of the population in the business world that thrive on taking advantage of military members, whether it's active duty or veterans. They thrive on taking advantage of us. So just be mindful of that. That does happen in real estate as well as in the mortgage lending business. So just be mindful of that, guys. So with that, if you do have questions, I will leave a email address below. You can contact me there. Also, I will leave a contact number as well. It will be my cell phone. If it's not an 808 number, I probably won't answer because I live in Hawaii now. But if you leave a voice message, I will call you back. Or you shoot me a text message, I will call you back. So, yeah, I think that's a great part of service. It's sad to say, but even as agents, there's some services out there that it's in real estate that still don't answer the phone, or it's an 800 number and you really can't get through to talk to a person. So you guys can feel free, Comment below. I don't know if I'll respond to comments as much because I don't check these videos as much. I just kind of do a one take, speak from the heart, give you everything I got, and leave it at that. But if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. If you are moving to Hawaii or the island of Oahu, that would be for those of you that have never been to Hawaii. If you move into Honolulu or Waikiki, right? Um, or I'll just tell you some of the bases here. We got a Kaneohe Marine Corps base. We got Pearl Harbor. We got Schofield, Tripler. I'm trying to think if there's any other one. Those are ones. Those are major ones I just think off the top of my head. There's probably a couple other bases I'm forgetting. But if you move to any of those Navy, Army, Marine bases out here, and need an agent that will help you out with buying the right home that's right for you and your family. It's not going to take advantage of you. It's got a great team that can take care of you. Feel free to reach out to me. Or if you already live here and you need an agent that will help you sell your property for the highest dollar possible in the shortest amount of time possible, then reach out to me as well. And yeah, that's a whole nother subject, selling your home. So I won't add a whole nother second video here onto this one, but yeah, I'll be happy to help you out and to meet with you. So with that, guys, I'll end it here. Like I said, I'm Isaac.James, real estate agent now here on Oahu, but just from a veteran to active duty to other veterans or retiree guys, just be smart and recognize that when you're buying a home, there's a lot of people that make money off of VA loans, and not all of them have the best intentions. It's not everybody, but again, it's just like those used car lots, except that bad realtors or bad mortgage companies don't necessarily have a sign that makes it pretty obvious, right? You can look at a used car lot and kind of like, man, this kind of looks a little shady, man. You know what I mean? But you don't kind of really have that with real estate because you're just meeting an agent, you're just meeting a person, right? So you don't know whether or not that's the case. But you're getting it from somebody that's in the industry. You're getting it from somebody that has been an active duty member like yourself when I purchased. So yeah. Hope this helps. All right, you guys take care.